Hello, I'm Master Marslander, and this is the Modhouse Tungsten. I suggest you sit down, get yourself a cup of coffee, and get comfortable because, man, do we have a lot to talk about. The Tungstens. This is a review I've been waiting a long time to release. One that I've been waiting a long time to make. And a headphone that I waited a long time to finally receive and enjoy. This is a project I have been following from just about the beginning of its inception, and one that I've been following with a lot of attention because Modhouse is known for building one of my favorite headphones on the market today, the Modhouse Argon. This here is the T60 Argon, and I have actually had the privilege of owning the original Argon Mark IIs, Argon Mark IIIs, and also this here balanced version of the T60 Argon. The Argons were absolutely remarkable headphones, but they're technically a mod. It is an existing Fostex T60 RP headphone that Mr. Master Wizard Ryan over at Modhouse Audio takes into his shop, does his magic, and turns it into something absolutely astonishing. I'm very reluctant to call an Argon a mod of a headphone because it is a substantially different headphone after Ryan has done his magic. This no longer sounds anything like a T60 RP Fostex. This is an Argon, and nothing else out there sounds like Argons except for Argons. So while they are technically mods, it's hard for me to say that because man oh man, they end up becoming completely different headphones. But what makes this, the Tungsten, such a special headphone is that this is Ryan's attempt at building his own headphone from the ground up. Everything about this headphone is custom made by Ryan. Everything. All the way down to the drivers, which are actually a custom driver from the UK, but everything else has been purposely machined and organized and manufactured and researched by Ryan to these specifications. This is, for all intent and purpose, his headphone. He made, from the ground up, a fully custom realized planar magnetic headphone here. This isn't mod. This is something else entirely, and I cannot stress enough how special of a headphone this is. What I have here today is actually the single-sided version of the Tungsten. There is a double-sided version also available if you're able to pick one up, and I will be reviewing a double-sided version sometime later, but for now this is what he had available, and I'm very fortunate to have received one so early so that I can get this review out so soon after he has started finally making it available for purchase. So let's dive a little bit deeper into here, talk about this build, because it's astonishing. Here they are, the Tungstens. Let me reiterate again that everything about this build is custom made. These faceplates, custom made. This headband, custom made. This comfort strap, custom made. Everything about this headphone is custom made, custom designed to be not just a high performing headphone, but a comfortable headphone and a functional headphone. On the surface here, right here on the face, we have the faceplates. I have right here the soft copper faceplate, but you have just a huge array of options and choices and colors for this faceplate if you choose to. And because of that, I actually ordered two different kinds of faceplates. I have, again, this copper finish here, but I also have these absolutely gorgeous Palak wood covers, wood faceplates. These are real Palak wood, and they're gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. What should you go with? Should you go with the aluminum? Should you go with the wood? That's going to be up to you. But do know that the wood here in particular is, I mean, if you look at it, it's a thin faceplate and it is machined beautifully. It is, however, fragile. So you do want to make sure you're being very careful if you're going to go with the wood. If you're worried about the fragility of the wood, then I do recommend you go with the aluminum because it still looks absolutely stunning and gorgeous. But understand that the faceplates are customizable. You can change them to whatever color or finish you want It's incredible. And again, Ryan does it himself because he's insane. Other custom options, you do have a custom option for the chassis. I just went with this stock black here, but you can customize this. You can customize the steel pin here. You have a lot of options, and I happen to really like the copper. Going into the rest of the build, this chassis is 100% custom made, 3D printed, and textured with this amazing kind of bone-like texture to make it feel really, really robust and rigid. This is all just incredible, incredible stuff. You have, again, this steel bar that is for adjusting, and this entire very kind of unique looking shape. Look at that. The shape of this adjustment bracket here. He just designed it so that it would work with the headband and for the adjusting pin. Oh my God, he just figured it out. It adjusts by clicking up and down, and you have just a huge array of size options here. You're gonna find the right fit for you. Going into the headband, this is not just a spring steel headband, but a hand-forged spring steel headband. Ryan has this headband stamped out, and then he takes it into his frickin' workshop and himself forges the frickin' thing to make it spring steel. And then, of course, colors it to probably whatever color you want. I don't know, but this is just a beautiful, perfect piece of spring steel that'll do whatever you need it to do for the headphone. And then under the headband, we have this amazing hand-stitched, genuine Alcantara comfort strap. It's incredibly soft and functional and amazing. And yeah, this build is insane. It's just insane. We're not done yet. As you can see, they swivel 100%, 360 degrees, whichever way you want. And then these pads here are actually ZMF pads. If you know ZMF, you know that's a really, really good thing because these are amazing. And the way they attach the headphones, super, super easy. They're magnetized. Look at that. Now you kind of get a little bit of a glimpse of the driver there. Oh, so freaking cool. Here is the pad. On the face and on the inside, we have a nice, very soft, almost suede-like feeling leather, which is perforated. And on the outside, we have a solid leather. The back is just a metal plate that can just, again, magnetize right onto the face here. And these little notches right here on the pad plate line up to these little screws right here on the driver plate. So you're gonna kind of just let it magnetize on there, twist around till you hear a click, click. Now it's in there the way it's supposed to be. I'll do the same for the other side here. Click. There it is. Stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. And Ryan advertises this headphone as being something that's really kind of user module. He wants you to be able to do whatever you want with this thing. That's why everything is pretty easy to take apart. Everything's pretty easy to kind of adjust and do whatever you want with. You're free to tweak this all you want, but you certainly do not need to because he's done all the tweaking for you. I wouldn't touch this build. I wouldn't change a thing. It is astonishing. It is unbelievably well made, especially from a single man. A man in a garage put this together for you. It's just unreal. It doesn't happen. And it's a beautiful headphone and a functional headphone. And oh my gosh, it's a true gem and something that is just special. Special is the word. You're going to be hearing that a lot throughout this review. Accessories. What do you get with the tungsten? Well, look at that. If you recognize this logo, you know what you're in for. Because here's the cable that the tungstens come with. Look at that. The tungstens use a 3.5mm dual entry cable, but this cable here, if you are familiar, your mouth should be agape. If you're not familiar, allow me to educate you. This is a Viking Weave cable. Viking Weave partnered with Ryan at Modhouse to offer this cable standard with the tungsten. An actual, genuine Viking Weave cable. One of the best kind of cables you could probably buy today. An astonishing, amazing, handmade, hand-woven cable. The guy who makes these is a jeweler. He's a jeweler. He makes jewelry, and he also makes headphone cables. You have a choice of what kind of termination you want. I went with the full 4-pin XLR, but I mean, just look at this thing. Look at this cable. It's astonishing. Look at that splitter. Look at that. Big honking piece of metal there. Over here at the end, we have his logo again repeated there. And just look how they fit. Look how they fit into the tungstens. It's a perfect fit. Astonishing. And they are color coded for left and right. The right has a slight red shrink wrap, while the left channel has a clear shrink wrap. So that's how you're kind of able to identify your left and right channels. But look at this weave. Look at this thing. What a freaking beautiful cable. What a freaking gorgeous, gorgeous thing that you get out of this. And again, included. Not extra, included with your tungsten. A Viking weave cable. Optionally, there is also a carrying case that you can purchase. You have your standard carrying case and your premium carrying case. And here is the premium case. It's a big honkin' Pelican case. And it is so badass. It's awesome. It has little turning bits to lock it into place or unlock it. Pop open the levers here and open that up to just a huge, humongous amount of padding and cushioning for your tungstens. Wonderful, wonderful case. And it does have the Modhouse logo branded right up there. So nice, custom, amazing, humongous case here. And hey, yours might even come with a sticker too, just like mine. Let's move into comfort. These pads are, of course, wonderful. ZMF pads, they're super, super soft. Look at this. Look how soft and cushy and that slow moving memory foam. This soft feeling suede leather on the inside here and on the face is so soft and lovely. You have plenty of cushioning, plenty of comfort, and that ear volume is huge. I'm able, if I'm going to use a Zeos reference, I can get a full 3-knuckle in here all the way around. There's plenty of room in here for your ear. An insanely good pad. Because the cups swivel to whatever direction you want, as well as tilt whatever direction you want pretty much, you're going to find it to fit whatever your head shape is. No matter what, you can have it do whatever you like. I'm going to throw this on my head now. This is a massive headphone. This is a huge headphone, a huge planar magnetic headphone, yet it feels like there's hardly anything on my head. The weight distribution of this design is just unbelievable. This humongous headphone is so comfortable on the head. I could wear this for hours. I certainly have. I've worn this for days and days and days. Oh my gosh, it's unreal how comfortable this headphone is. I think about something like my LCD 2Cs, which are big honkin' planar headphones that are about the same size of this, maybe even about the same weight a little bit, but feel so much heavier. And don't even get me started on something like the Monoprice 1060 over there, which is just, it's like having a mountain on your head. This is amazing. This comfort is unreal. The comfort strap right here, the Alcantara, is so freaking soft, and it molds perfectly to the shape at the top of my head. The ears, again, the ear pads have so much volume in them that my ears really are not touching any part of the pad or the back of the driver, nothing. My ears are just floating there, and the pads are hugging around it so softly and nicely. The clamp force is so reasonable and manageable, I barely notice it at all. And gosh, it feels incredible. There's no hot spots, nothing's hitting me anywhere uncomfortable, even though this is a large pad and it is reaching down to like my jawline and right here. It's not putting pressure, at least enough pressure to be uncomfortable or fatiguing in any way. It just rests there like a pillow, a wonderful pillow. It's, for lack of a better word, a gorgeous amount of comfort. So where does that fit in our comfort cloud system? Well, it probably isn't too big of a surprise, but this headphone, the Modhouse Tungsten, gets a 9 clouds of comfort. We're on cloud 9. Look at that. Yep, 9 clouds, easy. Easy. Maybe even higher than that if I really wanted to stretch it, but we're on cloud 9. An incredibly, amazingly comfortable headphone. And what a feat for a headphone that is so huge and so heavy. It's just unreal. Totally unreal. Sound performance. This is going to be a little difficult for me to get through because I'm not sure if I have the vocabulary, the word capability to describe what these headphones are capable of and what they can do. This is not an Argon. I love my Argons. My Argons are incredible. This is not an Argon. This is something totally different. Something entirely of its own. There's nothing else out there that sounds like this. Nothing else I have heard sounds like a tungsten. Just like how nothing else really sounds like an argon, nothing sounds like a tungsten. And it is different. It is not an argon. And the performance that you get out of this headphone is unreal. Absolutely unreal, especially at this price range. One of the questions you're probably asking yourself, and something that you hope I'm going to answer for you, is what do they sound like? Is there another headphone out there that they sound like? Well, like I said, nothing really sounds like a tungsten. Now that might frustrate you a little bit because you want me to be able to give you some comparisons. Well, it's gotta sound like something. Yeah, you must have something you can compare it to. Man, it's gonna be a real challenge because this is a $1,500 headphone, $1,500, and it outperforms out of its price range to an absolutely astronomical limit. This headphone performs so far out of its price range, it's hard to really calculate it. I have heard headphones magnitudes more expensive than this that can't compete with it, that don't do what this can do. Not even, and not like, oh, it's close. No, cannot. This outperforms so many things. It's unbelievable. This headphone is magic. Absolute magic. We'll start with soundstage. The staging on these is massive, huge, and the closest proximity of the staging that I can offer you is somewhere close to the range of a Sennheiser HD800S. Absolutely huge soundstage. But even with that soundstage, the imaging on this headphone, the imaging on the tungsten, the separation is the best I've ever heard. I have never heard image separation this accurate, this good, and this wide before. This separates things so much further and so much more accurately than anything else I have ever heard, to the point where it's letting me hear things that I've never heard before. And now, if you're into this hobby enough, you know how big of a deal that is when you have a headphone that makes you hear things in your music you've never heard before. You always hit certain steps, right? Certain thresholds, certain benchmarks as you're climbing up your headphone advancements, your headphone collection, whatever have you. There's always another like, oh man, this headphone has melted my brain and now I'm hearing things I never heard before. And then this headphone above that. I have headphones that have done that to me several times, and I've climbed that ladder over and over and over again and heard things that are well beyond this price range that have done exactly that to me, making me hear things I never heard before. And this does it again on top of all of those headphones, on top of the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 headphones. It's going even higher beyond that. I'm hearing things on this that I don't even hear on a Bravara. I'm hearing things on this that I don't hear on the Utopia. It is astonishing how accurate the imaging is, how separated the imaging is. Everything is around you, and it really feels like it's there. Astonishing imaging. The low end is very natural, very even, very clean. It's well controlled, but man, can it hit hard. The extension on the bass range feels like it's almost limitless. You have such impactful and fast and detailed low end that reaches so far down the frequency into your well beyond your sub bass territory. It is a really almost limitless feeling amount of low end. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and you hear it and you feel it. Drums sound huge, massive, and man, they just punch you in the chest and you feel it radiate around your body. It is so impactful, so energetic, so forceful. It's as if the drums are able to make your body just react rhythmically with whatever you are hearing. It's like forcing you to act rhythmically. It's amazing. The mid-range is the best mid-range I think I've ever heard. It is so astonishingly real. There's so much detail. There's so much just natural tonality, and the timbre is as good as anything I've ever heard. Vocals are clear. They're so clear and they sound so real. They're intimate, but also airy. You have a slight sense of space between you and the vocals, but the vocals are at you. They're at you, and you hear it like they're right there. I'm just in the room with whoever is singing at me. They're just there in front of me, and I hear them. And they're not singing to a crowd, they're singing to me, to you. And you hear every minute detail of their voice as it goes around the room, as the instruments are separated from them. It's the clearest amount of vocals I've probably ever heard. And the natural timbre of those vocals is just unreal. Incredible. Electric guitars, they slam, they tear, and they prickle. They're so robust sounding. They're so energetic. Then they're so, again, just real. You feel like you're just there in the room as they're wailing on their electric guitars, and you feel the vibrations all around you. In contrast, acoustic guitars, that they just buzz in like your neck and your chest. You feel it here, the buzzing of those strings, and they shiver and they just sing. Beautiful, beautiful representation. The high end is bright and just gorgeous without ever hitting sibilance or ever being fatiguing. It sparkles, it shimmers, it's just an insane amount of high-end detail and clarity. Violins sound like singing angels. Flutes sound like twittering songbirds. Astonishingly natural, astonishingly detailed, and astonishingly controlled. So well controlled. You're getting every bit of nuance you could ever want without it ever being too hot to handle. It's so well controlled, and it's so well presented. It's astonishing. Overall, we're talking about just an unparalleled amount of detail and clarity and spaciousness and separation throughout the entire frequency range. Very few headphones have I ever heard match with this amount of detail, match with this amount of energy. It's so analytical, it's so high performing, but it's so much fun at the same time. We're not talking about something that's just excruciatingly neutral and analytical. It's just unreal, and again, nothing else sounds like it. There really isn't anything else out there that sounds like this. If I have to give you some sort of comparison to work off of, we're talking about headphones like the Sennheiser HE1. That might sound ridiculous to you, but that's really the trajectory that this headphone is going. It's up there with the top of the tier. The only headphone I can think of that can even come close to outperforming this is something like an HE1. Nothing else. Nothing else comes close. And it might sound like hyperbole, but it really is that good. It really is that high performing, that huge, that energetic, that detailed, that much fun, that audio changing experience that you had when you first started exploring audiophile level and grade headphones. It's like you're doing that all over again. You're starting over. It feels like I'm starting over. This headphone is far and away the best sounding headphone I now own. It replaces everything. I could if I really wanted to. I won't because I'm insane, but if I wanted to, I can get rid of everything else. This replaces my entire collection. Everything. I don't have a single headphone that can do what this can. Not a single one. And it takes characteristics from headphones that I really, really love and puts it all into one package. It has the speed and intensity of something like the Hi-Fiman 560 V4s. It has the soundstage and insane spaciousness and immersion of something like the HG800S. It has the detail and the clarity that goes far, far beyond something like the LCD 2Cs. It's just remarkable. It takes everything from my favorite headphones, crams it all into one package. Like I said at the beginning of the review, I don't have the words or the vocabulary to fully express what this headphone is capable of. But oh my gosh, it is just remarkable in every sense of the word. However, here's the catch. These are probably the most difficult to drive headphones on the planet. The amount of power that you need to have to run these properly is really astonishing and no joke. It's going to be something you absolutely need to understand and consider. If you're going to buy a Modhouse Tungsten, there's a really, really, really high probability you're going to have to buy something else to go along with it, because there's a really low chance that you own equipment that can run this. It's a beast. Far and away the most difficult to drive headphone that I own and have ever heard. But I'm going to give you a couple of options ranging from different budgets, but understand that it's not about volume. You absolutely need to have a crazy powerful headphone just to get this to volume, but it's not just about volume. The tungstens need headroom. They need voltage. It's not just powering it to get it loud enough, it's powering it beyond what it needs to give it just the juice it's really starving for. The juice it's thirsty for. You need to quench its power thirst with something beyond just making it loud enough. And it's a very difficult thing to do. Something like my topping A90D, which is a very powerful amplifier, up to 6.7 watts per channel. It can get them loud. It can, but it's not enough. It's just not enough. It gets them up to volume, but they sound flat. They sound like they're missing something. They sound like there's just not really any amount of energy in it. It's just a loud, flat headphone. So it's not just about having the power to make it sound loud enough. You need more. If you have something like a THX AAA 789, very popular amplifier, it'll do a little bit of a better job than the topping A90D, at least in my opinion. It won't get it quite as loud as the A90, so you're actually sacrificing a bit of volume, but it does kind of deliver it a little bit more interesting. You're getting a little bit more energy out of it, but it's still not enough to really reach the full performance of the headphone. If we're talking about how much performance are you getting out of a, let's say the A90, the A90D, man, you're maybe getting about 70% of the performance. On something like a THX AAA 789, you're getting about 72% of that performance. But let's jump it up a little bit higher, because you want these to get the optimal performance that they possibly can. I promise you. And something that I was immediately interested in and I knew that I wanted to share with all of you, I, like probably many of you who are interested in this headphone, saw that amazing video of Ryan going and visiting Zeos in his basement to try out all of Zeos's amplifiers and hardware and everything. I freaking love that video. What a great video, man. But they had a really difficult time, as you probably saw. They went back and forth to all sorts of different gear and were having a really difficult time finding something that could properly power it. But one of the things that they did mention that was kind of the surprise of the video, and a surprise to both of them, I feel, was this little guy, the Modhouse Audio V3. So I did pick one up because of that video to make sure that it really did power them the way that they were kind of describing. And I'm happy to say that, yeah, it actually does a pretty dang good job. This is probably the cheapest way you're going to be able to power this headphone to a degree that I would consider good enough. It's still not reaching full potential, not really at all, but it's certainly doing a lot better job than the 789 or the A90D or anything in that category. So it does do it. There are a few caveats. One, you have to make sure you get the 48 volt version. That's the version you need, because that, again, gives you the voltage that these headphones really, really want to drink from. The other thing you're going to have to get is a little cable like this. What this is an XLR split into a 4-way banana plug, because the Modhouse Audio V3 is in fact a speaker amplifier, not a headphone amplifier. So we're going to have to get these funky cables to convert this speaker output into a headphone output. So that's something you're going to have to consider. And what's a little bit unfortunate is that this kind of cable is a little bit difficult to find. I had a pretty tough time finding a cable like this. In fact, this cable was sent to me by Ryan because I was having such a hard time finding it. But you can find this kind of cable on eBay. I had no success finding one on Amazon. I will provide a link in the description if you want to take a look at where you could get these, but they are a little difficult to get. So just understand that. But that is a requirement to run the tungstens on the Modhouse Audio V3 here. On the V3, where you get optimal volume about there. So a little bit more than halfway, probably around 1 o'clock on the dial here, you're getting really, really good amount of power and volume, and it does a decent job of generating that voltage to really give it more the performance it's trying and deserves to be delivering. So that's something to understand, but again, speaker amplifier, so be careful. Don't do this. Don't go full tilt. You're gonna hurt yourself or destroy your beautiful, amazing, unique, and special Modhouse headphones. So don't do that. So while the Fuzzy Audio does kind of get the job done, a step up from that is something that I'm really, really thrilled about, something that I really, really love, and that would be the Flux Labs Acoustic FA10. This is a giant amplifier. It's huge, but man, is it a beast. We're talking 16 watts per channel on this thing. It's Class A, and it is astonishing. It is such an incredible amplifier. Made in the Ukraine, and it's just one of the most robust things I think I own. I love my FA10 so much, and boy does it make the Tungsten sing. That thing has the voltage, it has the power to make these perform. Oh my goodness. You get staging, you get a little bit of warmth, you get crazy amounts of intensity, crazy amounts of impact. Oh god, the FA10 is kind of my highest recommendation to go for the Tungsten. Pairing pretty much any DAC with the FA10 will make the Tungstens just beautiful, fantastic, so freaking good. And for a $800, $900 amplifier, that's maybe a little bit pricey, but it does the job beautifully. Oh, it's so good. What an amazing combination. And if you look at mine, I got copper on copper, baby, and that is hella just, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I love it. Running it on high gain at about the 3 o'clock, you're getting plenty of volume. You can keep going if you want to, but you're already getting really, really loud at 3 o'clock. And man, does it bring performance. Does it really, really stretch what the Tungsten is capable of. That is, in my opinion, kind of the go-to mid-range to power the Tungstens. That will do it for you. It'll reach almost peak performance on the Tungsten, and it's such a cool freaking amplifier. I love it. And it's such an amazing pairing. I can't recommend it enough. What is my most optimal match for the Tungstens though? That's gonna have to be my Polish friends at Ferrum with the Ferrum stack. The Ferrum Ore, specifically the Ferrum Ore combined with the Hypsis, is nothing short of amazing. Nothing short of astonishing. Not only do you have all the power you need and the voltage you need, but pairing the Ore with the Hypsis, you're able to manually adjust and manipulate the voltage. So not only are you going to be able to hit full performance on the Tungsten with the Ferrum stack, but with the Hypsis, adjusting that voltage, manually adjusting it on the fly. Oh my goodness. It stretches the Tungstens even more. You're able to almost tune them however you want. And I'm not talking about EQing. I'm not talking about DSP correction. I'm talking about voltage. You are adjusting voltage. You want to hear something with a lot of tempo, something really, really fast and bombastic and crazy. Up that voltage a little bit, just a tiny bit, and it starts to make things just snap and slam. Oh my gosh. You want to calm it down, you want to listen to something, maybe some classical music, some smooth jazz, lower that voltage up a little bit. It chills it out, it evens it out, it relaxes it. It's so much more customizability when you're able to manually adjust the voltage for these. Now, to be fair, the Ferrum stack is a little on the pricey side. We're talking about something that's going to be probably out of reach of most people. But in a nutshell, if you want maximum performance from your Tungstens, my recommendation is the Ferrum stack. It is astonishing and makes these sound unlike anything on earth. The Ferrum stack is clean, clear, it's wide for even more staging and even more separation, better imaging, and even better vocal timbre. It is such an astonishing stack, an astonishing system for this headphone. Honest to God, I feel like it's the perfect pairing. absolutely the most high performing system I've ever heard. The Ferrum stack with the tungstens here. Insane. Insanity. So let's recap. If you're on the budget, sure, go with the Fozzy Auto V3 here. Again, make sure it's a 48 volt version, but this will do it for you. This will get the job done, even if you're not hitting 100% performance. It will do it, but you will need to make sure you're getting the right kind of cable for it, and do be careful because this is a speaker amp. You want to step it up and really start to reach what is almost full performance on the tungstens, Flux Audio FA10, 100%. And if you really want to go balls to the wall, if you have the funds for it, if you have the lifestyle for it, sure, go with the Ferrum stack, because that is just an unmatched, unbelievable system. Ferrum with the tungstens is just what? You don't need anything else. You would never need anything else for, I don't know, maybe ever. Maybe ever. I love this headphone so much. So much. It is, again, the best performing headphone I now own. It's the most fun headphone I now own. It is one of the most comfortable headphones that I own. And it is far and away, for every reason described in this very long review, the most special headphone that I own. Ryan at Modhouse has achieved something truly monumental with the Modhouse Tungsten here. M for monumental. This is an astonishing headphone, unreal, unbelievable, and one of the greatest performing listening experiences I've ever heard. And this is coming from someone that has heard headphones $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 and up. It's so beyond its price performance. It's so beyond anything that's really out there on the market. Nothing at this range competes. It's going to be a little difficult for you to grab one because Ryan is only able to really produce about 20 to 30 of them a month, but check his website regularly. There's a link in the description to his website for the tungstens. He does list the dates where the tungstens will be available again. So if you miss one drop, try again on the next available drop. But just understand that it's a very, very special headphone. It's going to be a little difficult to grab, but I promise you it's worth it. I promise you it's going to be worth every moment you have to wait, every dollar you have to spend, and every headache you might have to endure to find a way to power it. It's worth it. So hopefully this long, ridiculous rant gives you at least some idea of the worth and the power and the technology put into this, the effort put into this, the handmade scrutiny of a single man in his garage going just insano mode, turbo mode, to make one of the most amazing headphones on the planet. There's nothing else like it. It's now my favorite headphone, far and away. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. See you again soon.